The arena was huge, bigger than anything Hyunwoo had ever seen before. The walls reached up so high that he could barely see the top. Thousands of aliens sat in the seats above him. They were all different shapes and sizes. Some had tentacles, some had wings, some looked like giant insects. But they all had one thing in common. They were here to watch humans die. Hyunwoo stood in his special viewing box. He was the best warrior in the Galactic Dominion. Nobody had ever beaten him in a fight. His armor was black and shiny. It was made from the strongest metals in the galaxy. His weapons could destroy a small building. His body had been changed by science to make him faster and stronger than any normal person. Down in the arena, sand covered the ground. It was red sand, the color of blood. This was where the fights happened. This was where species proved who was strongest. The humans had been in space for only 50 years. They were new. They were weak. At least, that's what everyone thought. The Galactic Dominion ruled most of the galaxy. They had been conquering worlds for thousands of years. When they found humans, they expected an easy victory. But the humans surprised everyone. They fought back. They won battles they should have lost. They saved planets that should have fallen. Now the Dominion wanted to prove that humans were not special. They wanted to show everyone that humans could be beaten. So they made a challenge. Send your best fighter, they said. We will send ours. The winner's species gets to make the rules for the other. Hyunwoo watched as the first alien fighter entered the arena. It was a Vorthak warrior. Vorthaks were 12 feet tall and covered in thick scales. They had 4 arms and could lift a car over their head. The Vorthak carried a massive sword that glowed with energy. Then the human came out. She was small, maybe 5.5 feet tall. Her hair was black and tied back in a simple ponytail. She wore basic military clothes, not fancy armor like everyone else. In her hands, she carried an ordinary plasma rifle. Nothing special about it at all. The crowd laughed. Some aliens made jokes. How could this tiny human fight a mighty Vorthak? The fight started. The Vorthak charged forward with a loud roar. His sword came down like lightning. But the human was not there anymore. She had moved to the side so fast that Hyunwoo almost missed it. Her rifle fired once. The energy blast hit the Vorthak in the knee. He fell down hard. Before the Vorthak could get up, the human was behind him. She hit him in the back of the head with her rifle. The big warrior collapsed and did not move. The crowd went quiet. That was impossible. Vorthaks were some of the strongest fighters in the galaxy. The arena master announced the next fight. A Nexan warrior came out. Nexans were part machine, part living being. They had computers in their brains and metal parts on their bodies. They could think faster than anyone else. The Nexan lasted 15 seconds. Then came an Etherian. Etherians could read minds and move things without touching them. They were supposed to be unbeatable. The Etherian lasted 20 seconds. Fighter after fighter entered the arena. Each one was supposed to be better than the last. Each one was a champion of their species. Strong, fast, smart, deadly. None of them could touch the human. Her name was Gina. Hyunwoo learned this from the announcements. She moved like water, flowing around rocks. When enemies attacked, she was somewhere else. When she attacked back, she always hit exactly the right spot. She never wasted energy. She never made mistakes. After each fight, she would help her defeated opponent get up. She would make sure they were okay. This was very strange. In the Dominion, you finished your enemies. You did not help them, but Gina helped everyone. The Vi. Crowd was getting nervous. These were supposed to be easy fights. The humans were supposed to lose quickly. Instead, their fighter was making the galaxy's best warriors look like children. Hyunwoo felt something he had not felt in many years. Worry. He was supposed to fight last. He was supposed to be the final test. But if this human could beat everyone else so easily, what did that mean for him? He looked at his hands. They were covered in metal gloves that made him strong enough to crush stone. His armor could stop any weapon. His sword could cut through anything. He had fought in 100 battles and won them all, but doubt crept into his mind like a cold wind. The seventh fighter was a Kaloran. Kalorans were known for being fast. They could move so quickly that most people could not even see them. This one had won fights against entire armies by himself. Gina defeated him in 8 seconds. The arena was completely silent now. Nobody was laughing anymore. Nobody was making jokes. The most powerful species in the galaxy had sent their best fighters. All of them had lost. The arena master stood up. He was a fat, ugly creature with too many eyes. His voice boomed across the arena as he spoke. The final fight will now begin. From the Galactic Dominion, the undefeated champion, Commander Hyunwoo, winner of the Battle of Seven Suns, conqueror of the rebel worlds, the greatest warrior in known space. Hyunwoo stood up. The crowd cheered for him. They wanted him to restore their pride. They wanted him to show that the old ways were still the best ways. He walked down to the arena. Each step felt heavy. His armor made soft humming sounds as all the systems turned on. Weapons ready, shields up, combat mode active. Gina stood in the center of the arena, waiting for him. She looked tired. Sweat ran down her face. Her rifle had scorch marks on it from all the fighting. But her eyes were clear and calm. She was just a human. A small, weak human from a young species that barely knew how to fly between stars. He was Hyunwoo. He was the best fighter who had ever lived. But as he looked at her, he remembered something his teacher had told him long ago. The most dangerous enemy is not the strongest one. It is the one who fights for something bigger than themselves. What did this human fight for? Why did she help her enemies after defeating them? Why did she look so calm when facing the greatest warrior in the galaxy? Hyunwoo raised his sword. The blade hummed with energy. It could cut through the hull of a spaceship. Gina raised her rifle. It was scratched and old. Nothing special at all. The arena master raised his hand. The crowd held its breath. "Begin!" he shouted. The fight that would change the galaxy was about to start. Hyunwoo moved faster than he had ever moved before. His enhanced muscles launched him forward like a missile. His sword came down in a perfect arc. It was the killing blow that had ended 1,000 fights. Gina was not there. She had moved to his left, just barely out of reach. Her rifle fired as she moved. The energy blast hit his shoulder armor. It did not hurt him, but it made him stumble. Hyunwoo spun around quickly. His computer brain calculated where she would be. His left hand shot out to grab her. His metal fingers could crush bones, but they closed on empty air. Gina had ducked under his arm. She was behind him now. Her rifle butt hit the back of his knee. The armor protected him from damage, but the hit made him lose his balance. Hyunwoo fell forward. He rolled and came up fighting. His sword slashed in a wide circle around him. Nothing could get close without being cut in half, except Gina was already outside the circle. She had jumped back the moment she hit him. Now she stood 3 steps away, rifle aimed at his head. She fired. Hyunwoo's shields flared to life. The energy blast bounced off harmlessly. He smiled. His shields could stop anything. No personal weapon could break through them. But Gina was already moving again. She ran to his right side. Her rifle fired again and again. Each shot hit his shields in exactly the same spot. Hyunwoo realized what she was doing. She was overloading his shields. If enough energy hit the same place, even the best shields would fail. He charged at her. His sword swept out in a deadly pattern. Any normal person would have been cut to pieces. But Gina flowed around his attacks, like water flowing around rocks. She never seemed to hurry, but she was always just out of reach. His rifle came up. It was bigger and more powerful than hers. One shot from it could blow a hole in a wall. He fired at point-blank range. The shot missed. Gina had dropped to the ground and rolled between his legs. As she came up behind him, her rifle fired 3 more times. All 3 shots hit the same spot on his shields. The shield generator sparked. Warning lights flashed in his helmet. His shields were failing. This was impossible. Hyun-woo was the best fighter in the galaxy. He had trained for 50 years. His body was enhanced by the finest science. His weapons were the most advanced ever made. His armor could protect him from orbital bombardment. How was this small human making him look like? A fool? He spun around to face her again. This time he used his backup weapons. Micro-missiles launched from his shoulder pods. Laser beams shot from his wrists. Energy blasts came from his chest plate. The arena filled with smoke and fire. When it cleared, Hyun-woo looked for Gina's body. She had to be dead. Nothing could survive that much firepower. But Gina stood on top of a broken piece of arena wall. She had climbed up there while he was firing. All his weapons had hit empty ground. She jumped down and ran straight at him. This surprised Hyun-woo. Finally, she was coming to him instead of running away. He raised his sword to meet her charge. At the last second, Gina slid under his sword. She came up inside his guard, where his big weapons could not reach her. Rifle fired 1 more time. The shot hit the exact spot she had been targeting. His shields failed completely. Now Hyun-woo was angry. He grabbed for her with both hands. If he could just get hold of her, his strength would end the fight quickly. But Gina was like smoke. Every time he thought he had her, she slipped away. She hit him in the joints of his armor. She shot the power cables that fed his weapons. She attacked his sensors so he could not see as well. Piece by piece, she was taking apart the most advanced warrior in the galaxy, Hyun-woo's computer brain. Analyze the fight. The numbers made no sense. Gina was slower than him. She was weaker than him. Her weapons were inferior. Her armor was just cloth. But she was winning. He tried a desperate move. He grabbed his sword with both hands and spun in a circle. The blade would cut through anything that came near him. She would have to stay back. But when he stopped spinning, Gina was right next to him. She had somehow moved in close while he was spinning. Her rifle was pressed against his helmet. "Yield," she said quietly. Only he could hear her. Hyun-woo snarled and tried to grab her. But his movements were getting slower. The damage to his armor was affecting his systems. Gina stepped back easily. She could have fired. At that range, even his helmet would not protect him. But she did not pull the trigger. "I don't want to hurt you," she said. "Please stop." Hyun-woo did not understand. This was a fight to the death. The winner took everything. The loser died. That was how things worked in the galaxy. He charged at her 1 more time. All his remaining strength went into this final attack. His sword came down like a falling star. Gina stepped to the side. As his sword hit the ground, she moved behind him. Her rifle butt hit the back of his helmet where it connected to his armor. It was the only weak spot in his entire suit. Oh, spot that no enemy should be able to find in the middle of a battle. The hit disconnected his helmet's power supply. His vision went dark. His breathing system failed. Warning alarms screamed in his ears. Hyun-woo fell forward onto the red sand. His sword slipped from his fingers. His mighty armor became a prison he could not escape from. The fight was over. 37 seconds. That was how long it had taken. The greatest warrior in the galaxy had been defeated in 37 seconds by a human with an old rifle. The arena was completely silent. 10,000 aliens stared in shock. This was not supposed to happen. This could not happen. But it had happened. Hyun-woo lay on the sand, gasping for air. His helmet systems were rebooting slowly. Through the static in his eyes, he saw Gina standing over him. Her rifle was pointed at his head. All she had to do was pull the trigger. The human species would be the winners. They would rule over the galactic dominion. They would decide the fate of every world. Hyun-woo closed his eyes and waited for death. Instead, he heard the sound of a rifle being set down on the sand. When he opened his eyes, Gina was holding out her hand to help him up. Hyunwoo stared at the hand reaching down to him. It was small and had calluses from holding weapons. There was no trick here, no hidden weapon, just a human offering to help her enemy stand up. In his long life, no one had ever offered to help him after a fight. In the Dominion, when you lost, you died. If you were lucky, you might become a slave. But help, kindness, these things did not exist between enemies. Why? The word came out of his broken helmet speakers as a whisper. Gina smiled. It was a strange expression. Hyunwoo had seen smiles before, but they were always cruel. The smiles of winners looking down at losers. This smile was different. It was warm. Because you fought with honor, she said, and because everyone deserves a chance to learn. Learn? Learn what? Hyunwoo's mind struggled to understand. He was the teacher here. He was the master warrior. What could this human possibly teach? Him? But his arm reached up anyway. Almost without thinking about it, he took her hand. Gina pulled him to his feet. She was strong, stronger than her small size suggested, but not strong enough to lift a warrior in full armor. Hyunwoo had to. Help! He had to choose to stand up. The crowd exploded into noise. Aliens shouted in 100 different languages. Some were angry, some were confused, some were afraid. All of them were seeing something that had never happened before in the arena. The arena master jumped up from his seat. His many eyes bulged with rage. "Human! You must finish your opponent! Those are the rules!" Gina looked up at him calmly. "No," she said. That simple word silenced the entire arena. No one said no to the arena master. No one broke the rules of combat. "Kill him!" the arena master screamed. "Kill him or face the consequences!" Gina helped Hyunwoo steady himself. His armor systems were coming back online slowly. His helmet display flickered as it rebooted. "I won't kill someone who fought fairly," Gina said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "That's not what humans do." Hyunwoo looked at her in amazement. She was risking everything. Her species could be enslaved for this. She could be executed. But she would not kill him. Why? The arena master signaled to his guards. Armed soldiers started moving toward the arena floor. They would kill both Gina and Hyunwoo if they had to. But before they could reach the arena, another voice rang out. "Stop!" A woman in a human military uniform had appeared in the arena master's box. She was older than Gina, with short gray hair and serious eyes. Behind her came more humans carrying weapons. "Captain Boram," Gina said with relief. "Perfect. Timing." The arena master turned to face the new arrivals. "How dare you interrupt my arena? Guards, arrest them all!" But the guards were not moving. They were looking up at the sky above the arena. Hyunwoo followed their gaze and saw something that made his heart stop. Human ships filled the sky, dozens of them. They had appeared without anyone noticing. Their weapons were pointed down at the arena. Captain Boram smiled at the arena master. It was not a warm smile like Gina's. This one had teeth. "My name is Captain Boram of the Human Defense Force," she said. "We're here to collect our fighter and discuss the terms of our agreement." "Agreement?" the arena master sputtered. "She broke the rules. She must be punished." "She won the fight," Boram said simply. "That was the agreement. Send your best fighter, you said. Winner takes all. Well, we won." Hyunwoo realized the truth. This had never been about proving human weakness. It had been a trap. The humans had known they would win. They had planned all of this. But then why had Gina spared him? If this was all a trick, why show mercy? Security forces surrounded them as they left the arena. Hyunwoo walked beside Gina, still trying to understand what had happened. His defeat felt like a dream. A nightmare where everything he believed about fighting had been proven wrong. They were escorted to the human ship that had landed near the arena. It was smaller than Dominion ships but looked somehow more advanced. Everything was clean and efficient. As they walked up the ramp, Hyunwoo expected to be taken to a prison cell. Instead, Gina led him to what looked like a dining room. There were tables and chairs and a window that showed the stars outside. "Sit," Gina said, pointing to a chair. "You must be tired." Hyunwoo sat down carefully. His armor was heavy and damaged. Several systems were still not working properly. A few minutes later, Captain Boram joined them. She carried a tray with food and drinks. She set it down on the table and sat across from Hyunwoo. "You fight well," she said. "Gina told me you were the most skilled opponent she's faced." Hyunwoo laughed bitterly. "Skilled? She defeated me, like I was a child." "You lasted longer than most," Gina said. She was cleaning her rifle, checking it for damage. 37 seconds is actually pretty good." "Pretty good?" Hyunwoo stared at her. "I am the greatest warrior in the Dominion. I have never lost a fight. Never." Boram poured something that smelled good into a cup. She pushed it toward Hyunwoo. "Try this. It's called tea. It might help you relax." Hyunwoo looked at the cup suspiciously. "Is it poison?" "If we wanted you dead, you'd be dead," Boram said matter-of-factly. "We certainly wouldn't need poison." That was true. Hyunwoo picked up the cup and tasted the liquid inside. It was hot and had a pleasant flavor. Nothing like the nutrition. Paste he usually ate. "Why did you spare me?" he asked Gina. She looked up from her rifle. "Because killing you wouldn't prove anything. You're not evil. You're just doing what you've been taught to do. I am a warrior of the Dominion. We conquer worlds. We enslave species. How am I not evil?" Boram leaned forward. "Tell me, Hyunwoo, do you enjoy hurting innocent people?" The question surprised him. Of course not, but it is necessary. The strong must rule the weak. That is the natural order. "Says who?" Gina asked. "Says everyone. Says the universe itself. Look around you. Every species fights for dominance. Only the strongest survive." Boram shook her head. "That's where you're wrong. The strongest don't survive. The most adaptable do. The ones who can work together." She turned on a wall display. It showed images of human worlds. But these were not conquered planets. They were partnerships. Humans working alongside dozens of different alien species, building things together, sharing knowledge, protecting each other. "This is how humans expand," Boram explained. "Not through conquest. Through cooperation." Hyunwoo stared at the images. He had heard rumors about human worlds, but he had thought they were lies, propaganda. But here was proof. "Impossible," he said. "Different species cannot work together. They fight. They compete. They destroy each other." "Do they?" Gina asked. "Or do they do that because they've been taught that it's the only way?" Hyunwoo felt something strange happening in his mind. Like walls he had built over many years were starting to crack. Everything he believed, everything he had been taught, was being questioned. And for the first time in his life, he did not have good answers. 3 days later, Hyunwoo was still on the human ship. He had expected to be sent back to Dominion space immediately. Instead, Captain Boram had asked him to stay as their guest. She wanted to show him things, she said, things that might interest him. It was the strangest 3 days of his life. The humans treated him like a friend, not a prisoner. They gave him his own room with a soft bed and a window that looked out at the stars. They brought him food that actually tasted good instead of the flavorless nutrition paste he was used to. They talked to him like his opinions mattered. This morning, Gina had invited him to watch a training session. She wanted to show him how humans learn to fight. The training room was nothing like what Hyunwoo expected. In the Dominion, warriors trained alone. They competed against each other for ranking. The strongest dominated the weak. That was how you became better. But the human training room was full of people working together. Soldiers helped each other, learned new techniques. When someone made a mistake, others showed them how to do it better. When someone succeeded, everyone celebrated. "This is wrong," Hyunwoo said, watching a senior officer patiently teach a young recruit. "How can they become strong if they help the weak ones?" Gina smiled. "Watch longer." Hyunwoo watched for an hour. Slowly, he began to see something strange. The humans were getting better faster than should be possible. By working together, by sharing knowledge, they were all improving at the same time. In the Dominion, only the naturally gifted became great warriors. Everyone else stayed mediocre or died trying. But here, average humans were becoming excellent fighters through cooperation and mutual support. "I don't understand," Hyunwoo admitted. "Come on," Gina said. "Let me show you something else." She led him to another room where humans were studying battle tactics. But again, it was nothing like Dominion military education. Instead of memorizing ancient strategies, they were creating new ones. They worked in groups, building on each other's ideas. A young human named Minho was presenting a plan for defending a space station. His idea was creative but had obvious flaws. In the Dominion, he would have been mocked and dismissed. Instead, the other humans helped him fix the problems. They pointed out the weaknesses, but also suggested solutions. By the end of the session, Minho's idea had become a brilliant strategy that no one could have created alone. "Your techniques are perfect," Gina said to Hyunwoo as they watched. "Your equipment is the best in the galaxy, but you fight like you're alone against the universe." "I am alone," Hyunwoo replied. "Every warrior is. In the end, you can only rely on yourself." "That's where you're wrong," Gina said. "Humans fight like we're part of something bigger. We're not trying to prove we're the strongest. We're trying to protect what we care about." She pulled up a holographic display showing human military doctrine. Everything was different from what Hyunwoo knew. Where Dominion training focused on individual superiority, human training emphasized working as a team. Where Dominion tactics relied on overwhelming force, human tactics relied on creativity and adaptation. "Look at how you fought me," Gina continued. "Every move was perfect, but they were all moves you had practiced 1,000 times. When I did something unexpected, you couldn't adapt fast enough." Hyunwoo thought about the fight. She was right. He had followed his training exactly. Attack patterns, defensive positions, weapon sequences, everything had been done by the book. But the book did not prepare him for an enemy who fought in a completely different way. "How do you train for the unexpected?" he asked. "By embracing it," Gina said. "Come on, let me show you." They went to another training area where humans were practicing combat scenarios. But these were not the rigid exercises Hyunwoo knew. The situations kept changing randomly. The rules kept shifting. The humans had to think and adapt constantly. At first, it looked like chaos. But Hyunwoo began to see the method behind it. By constantly facing new challenges, the humans were learning to think creatively under pressure. They were becoming comfortable with uncertainty. "In the Dominion, we plan for every possibility," Hyunwoo said. "Impossible," Boram said, joining their conversation. "There are too many possibilities. Better to train people to handle anything." She gestured to the training area. "Watch that soldier there. Her name is Ara. 6 months ago, she was just average. But see how she adapts to each new situation?" Hyunwoo watched Ara face a series of impossible scenarios. Each time the rules changed, she found a new solution. She was not the strongest or fastest human in the room, but she was learning to think in ways that Dominion warriors never could. "This is inefficient," Hyunwoo protested. "It would be faster to just enhance their bodies and give them better weapons." "Would it?" Boram asked. "How did that work out for you against Gina?" Hyunwoo had no answer for that. That evening, they had dinner together again. It was becoming a routine that Hyunwoo found strangely comforting. In the Dominion, warriors ate alone. Sharing meals was seen as weakness. But sitting with Gina and Boram, talking about ideas and strategies, Hyunwoo felt something he had never experienced before. He felt like he belonged somewhere. "I have a question," he said as they finished eating. "If your way is so much better, Why haven't you conquered the galaxy already? Boram laughed. Because we don't want to conquer it. We want to make it better. What's the difference? Conquest is about taking. Making things better is about giving. She showed him more images on the wall display. These were not military victories, but something else entirely. Humans helping other species solve problems, building schools and hospitals, teaching new technologies, protecting weaker worlds from stronger ones. When we find a new species, we don't ask how we can defeat them, Boram explained. We ask how we can help them. Most of the time, they end up wanting to help us too. Hyunwoo studied the images carefully. And if they don't want your help? Then we leave them alone, Gina said simply. Unless they're hurting others, then we protect the victims. But that means you're weaker than... You could be. If you conquered everyone, you would have more resources, more soldiers, more power. Boram shook her head. We'd have more slaves. But slaves don't fight as hard as free people. They don't think as creatively. They don't innovate or adapt. She pointed to one image showing humans and aliens working together on some kind of advanced technology. This device can protect an entire planet from asteroid impacts. It was invented by a team that included 5 different species. No one species could have created it alone. But in the Dominion, Hyunwoo began, in the Dominion, 4 of those species would be slaves and 1 would be master, Boram finished. The slaves would do the minimum work required to avoid punishment. The masters would be too busy maintaining control to be creative. The device would never be invented. Hyunwoo felt those walls in his mind cracking further. Everything made sense when she explained it this way. But it went against everything he had been taught since childhood. You're asking me to believe that. Weakness is strength, he said. No, Gina replied. I'm asking you to believe that strength shared is strength multiplied. Later that night, alone in his room, Hyunwoo stared out at the stars and wondered if everything he had believed about the universe was wrong. 2 weeks later, Hyunwoo was back in Dominion space. The return journey had been difficult, not because of the travel, but because of the thoughts spinning in his head. Everything the humans had shown him challenged what he believed about the universe. His superiors were waiting for him at the space station. They wanted a full report about his defeat and his time with the humans. They wanted to know human weaknesses and how to exploit them. Hyunwoo told them what they wanted to hear. He described human technology and tactics. He gave them military information that would help plan future battles, but he did not tell them about the other things. The cooperation, the kindness, the different way of thinking. He was not sure why. He kept those things secret. Maybe because he knew they would not understand. Maybe because he was still trying to understand them himself. His first assignment back was to lead a patrol mission in the outer sectors. Pirates had been attacking Dominion shipping lanes. It was a simple job. Find the pirates and destroy them. Hyunwoo gathered his squadron in the briefing room. These were good soldiers. He had worked with most of them before. They followed orders without question and fought bravely in battle. But as he looked at them, now he saw something he had never noticed before. They were afraid, not of the enemy, but of him. They sat stiffly in their chairs, waiting for orders, never offering suggestions or ideas. In the past, this had seemed normal, proper. The commander gives orders and the soldiers obey. But now Hyunwoo remembered the humans working together, building on each other's ideas, becoming stronger through cooperation. Intelligence reports indicate the pirates are using hit-and-run tactics, he began the briefing. They attack merchant ships and then flee to hidden bases in the asteroid fields. The standard Dominion response would be simple. Use overwhelming force to sweep through the asteroid fields until they found the pirates. Accept heavy casualties as the price of victory. But Hyunwoo found himself thinking about the problem differently. Lieutenant Min-ho, he said to his youngest officer, you've studied these asteroid fields before. What do you think? Min-ho looked surprised. Commanders did not usually ask for opinions from junior officers. Sir, the pirates know these asteroids better than we do. If we go in with standard tactics, what happens? Minho hesitated, then spoke carefully. They would have the advantage, sir. They could set ambushes. Use the asteroids for cover. Exactly. Hyunwoo turned to the tactical display. So what would you do instead? The room was silent. This was not how briefings worked in the Dominion, but Minho's mind was racing. Hyunwoo could see him thinking through the problem. Maybe, we could make them come to us, Minho suggested. Set a trap with fake merchant ships? Another officer, Captain Dal-Su, spoke up without being asked. The pirates might be too smart for simple bait, but what if we made it look like a supply convoy heading to an important target? Soon the whole room was talking. Ideas flowed from one person to another. They built a plan together that was better than anything Hyunwoo could have created alone. The mission was a complete success. They captured the pirate base with minimal casualties and rescued dozens of prisoners. More importantly, Hyunwoo's soldiers had fought with creativity and enthusiasm instead of just following orders. Word of their success spread quickly. Other commanders heard about Hyunwoo's new tactics. Some were interested, others were suspicious. Change was not welcomed in the Dominion, but the results spoke for themselves. Missions that should have been difficult became manageable. Casualties dropped. Morale improved. Soldiers under Hyunwoo's command started thinking for themselves instead of just obeying. Admiral Kang-soo called Hyunwoo to his office after the third successful mission. "Your methods are unusual," the admiral said. His voice was cold and disapproving. "They are effective, sir," Hyunwoo replied. "Effectiveness is not the only consideration." Kang-soo walked to the window overlooking the military base. Thousands of soldiers drilled in perfect formation below. Order and discipline are what make the Dominion strong. When soldiers start thinking for themselves, they start questioning orders. "Is that necessarily bad, sir?" Kang-soo turned around sharply. "Yes, it is bad. Very bad. Soldiers who question orders today will rebel tomorrow. This is how empires fall, or how they grow stronger," Hyunwoo said quietly. "You spent too much time with the humans," Kang-soo snapped. "They corrupted your thinking. I should have you executed for treason." For winning battles with fewer casualties? For spreading dangerous ideas? Kang-soo sat back down at his desk. "You are relieved of command. Report to re-education immediately." Re-education. Hyunwoo knew what that meant. They would try to erase the new ideas from his mind, make him think like a proper Dominion warrior again, turn him back into a tool that followed orders without question. But as he left the Admiral's office, Hyunwoo realized something important. It was too late. The ideas had taken root too deeply. He could not go back to being what he was before. That night, Minho and several other officers came to see him privately. They were nervous but determined. "Sir," Minho said quietly, "we don't want to go back to the old ways. What you taught us, it makes sense. It works." "There are others who feel the same way," Captain Dal-Su added. "Not just in our unit. The ideas are spreading." Hyunwoo looked at these young officers. They reminded him of the humans he had met. Eager to learn, willing to think for themselves, ready to work together for something bigger than personal glory. "What are you asking me to do?" he said. "Don't let them erase what you've learned," Minho said. "Don't let them turn you back into what you were." "And if I refuse? If I run? What happens to all of you?" "We'll keep the ideas alive," Dal-Su promised. "We'll teach others. Slowly, carefully. But we'll spread what you've shown us." "This is treason," Hyunwoo warned them. "No, sir," Minho said firmly. "This is evolution." 2 days later, as Hyunwoo was being escorted to the re-education facility, alarms began blaring throughout the space station. Emergency lights flashed red. The escort soldiers stopped and listened to their communication devices. "What is it?" Hyun-woo asked. "Human ships," one of the guards replied. "A full fleet. They're demanding to speak with Admiral Kang-soo." Hyun-woo felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief, because this might save him from re-education. Worry, because this could mean war. And something else. A feeling he did not immediately recognize. Hope. Through the corridor windows, he could see human ships filling the space around the station. They were not attacking. They were not threatening. They were just there, waiting. Message came over the station's communication system. It was Captain Bo-ram's voice. "This is Captain Bo-ram of the Human Defense Force. We're here to discuss recent attacks on civilian shipping. We request immediate talks with Dominion leadership." But Hyun-woo suspected they were really here for something else. The timing was too convenient. Somehow, they knew he was in trouble. As his guards received new orders and hurried him toward the command center instead of re-education, Hyun-woo wondered if Gina was on one of those ships. He wondered if she still believed that everyone deserved a chance to learn. He was about to find out. The meeting room was tense. Admiral Kang-soo sat at one end of a long table surrounded by his senior officers. At the other end sat Captain Bo-ram and 3 other human representatives. Between them, the air was thick with suspicion and barely controlled hostility. Hyun-woo stood against the wall with his guards. He was officially a prisoner awaiting re-education, but Kang-soo had brought him here as evidence of human corruption. The Admiral wanted to show the humans what happened to those who adopted their dangerous ideas. "You have attacked our shipping," Kang-soo began without ceremony. "This is an act of war." Bo-ram remained calm. "We have defended ourselves against unprovoked aggression. Our merchant ships were fired upon first. In Dominion space. You have no right to be here. Space belongs to everyone, Admiral. Or it should." Kang-soo's expression grew darker. "This is exactly the kind of thinking that threatens galactic order. The strong rule. The weak submit. This has always been the way." "Has it?" Bo-ram asked. "Or is that just what the strong tell themselves to justify their actions?" The human captain gestured to a holographic display that showed recent incidents. "In the past month, Dominion forces have attacked 17 human ships. All were carrying medical supplies or food to refugee colonies. Refugee colonies established without our permission," one of Kang-soo's officers interjected. "Permission from whom?" Bo-ram replied. "The people fleeing war and hunger? They didn't ask the Dominion for permission to be homeless." Hyun-woo watched the exchange with growing unease. This was not going well. The two sides were talking past each other, neither willing to find common ground. Then the alarms went off again. A communications officer rushed into the room. "Admiral, we're receiving multiple distress calls. A Zephyrian colony ship is under attack by raiders in the Kepler system." Kang-soo waved dismissively. "Not our concern. The Zephyrians are not Dominion subjects. The raiders are heading toward Dominion space after the attack," the officer continued. "They'll likely target our trade routes next. Then we'll deal with them when they arrive," Kang-soo said. Bo-ram stood up. "Admiral, there are 3 million civilians on that colony ship, including children." "Not our responsibility," Kang-soo repeated coldly. "It could be," Bo-ram said quietly. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she was suggesting. A joint operation. Humans and Dominion forces working together. Impossible! Kang Su snapped. The Dominion does not work with lesser species. Lesser species? Bo-Ram's voice remained calm, but Hyun-Woo could see the steel in her eyes. Is that what you called us before Gina defeated your champion? The insult hit home. Several Dominion officers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Hyun-Woo stepped forward. Admiral, may I speak? You are a prisoner, Kang Su snarled. You have no voice here. Actually, Bo-Ram said, he might be exactly who we need to hear from. She looked directly at Hyun-Woo. You've seen both ways of doing things now, Dominion methods and human methods. Which would work better for this situation? Hyun-Woo felt all eyes in the room focus on him. He was standing at a crossroads. He could say what Kang Su wanted to hear and maybe avoid re-education. Or he could speak the truth and face the consequences. He thought about Gina extending her hand to help him up. He thought about the human soldiers working together, becoming stronger through cooperation. He thought about Min-Ho and the other, young officers who were ready to change everything they had been taught. A joint operation would save more lives, he said clearly. Human tactics combined with Dominion firepower could stop the raiders quickly and rescue the civilians. Kang Su's face turned purple with rage. Traitor! You see, this is what human corruption does to a warrior's mind. Is saving innocent lives. Corruption? Hyun-Woo asked. Innocent lives that are not our responsibility. When did we become a people who only care about ourselves? Hyun-Woo shot back. When did strength become an excuse for cruelty? The room erupted in angry voices. Some officers supported Kang Su. Others seemed uncertain. A few looked like they wanted to agree with Hyun-Woo, but were afraid to speak. Bo-Ram raised her hand for silence. Admiral, let me make you an offer. We'll rescue the Zephyrian colony ship ourselves. No Dominion assistance required. But in return, we want something. We negotiate with equals, not inferiors, Kang Su replied. Then why are you sitting at this table talking to us instead of attacking our fleet? The question hung in the air. Everyone knew the answer. The humans had proven they were not inferior. The arena had shown that. The successful defense of their colonies had confirmed it. What do you want? Kang Su asked reluctantly. We want Commander Hyun-Woo. The demand shocked everyone in the room. Hyun-Woo most of all. You want our traitor? Kang Su laughed harshly. Fine. Take him. He is of no use to us anymore. Not as a prisoner, Bo-Ram clarified. As a liaison. Someone who understands both our ways and yours. Absolutely not. Then we have nothing more to discuss. Bo-Ram started to stand up. We'll rescue the Zephyrians and be on our way. But the next time Dominion forces attack human ships, we won't be so diplomatic. Wait, said a voice from among the Dominion officers. Everyone turned to look at Captain Jin A, one of Kang Su's senior staff. She was an older woman with many battle scars and a reputation for tactical brilliance. The raiders attacking the colony ship, she said slowly. Intelligence suggests they have at least 30 ships, heavily armed. Even if the humans succeed in rescuing the civilians, the raiders will escape to cause more trouble. Your point? Kang Su demanded. My point is that this problem affects all of us. These raiders attack anyone who looks profitable. Zephyrians today, humans tomorrow, Dominion convoys next week. She looked around the room. A coordinated response would eliminate the threat permanently, and it would send a message to other pirate groups. Hyun-woo saw several officers nodding slightly. They understood the military logic even if they disliked the political implications. Furthermore, Jin-ae continued, if this liaison arrangement works well, it could prevent future misunderstandings between our forces, reduce the chance of accidental conflicts. There are no accidental conflicts, Kang Su said. Only victories and defeats. Are there? Bo-Ram asked. Because from where I sit, it looks like we're all losing. Humans, Dominion, Zephyrians, everyone. The only winners are the raiders and pirates who profit from chaos. She gestured to the tactical display. While we're sitting here arguing about who's superior, 3 million people are about to die. And tomorrow there will be more attacks, more victims, more suffering. Unless we work together, Hyun-woo said quietly. The words hung in the air like a challenge to everything the Dominion believed about itself. Kang Su stared at him with pure hatred. But Hyun-woo could see doubt in the Admiral's eyes, doubt about whether the old ways were really working anymore. Outside the room's windows, human ships waited patiently in space. They were not threatening attack. They were offering partnership. The choice was in front of them all. Continue the endless cycle of conflict, or try something new. The universe held its breath and waited to see which path they would choose. The rescue mission was unlike anything Hyun-woo had ever experienced. Instead of the rigid Dominion command structure he knew, the joint operation ran on constant communication and shared decision-making. Human and Dominion ships worked side by side, their crews talking to each other like partners rather than enemies. Hyun-woo found himself on the bridge of Bo-Ram's ship, wearing a Dominion uniform, but serving as a translator between two very different ways of thinking. It was strange and uncomfortable, but it was also exciting. Raider fleet detected, announced the sensor operator. 32 ships, just as intelligence predicted. They're attacking the colony ship from 3 directions. On the main display, Hyun-woo could see the battle. The massive Zephyrian colony ship was helpless, its civilian shields failing under the raiders' assault. Smaller ships fled in all directions while pirates picked them off like hunters. Standard Dominion tactics would be a frontal assault, Hyun-woo explained to Bo-Ram. Concentrate all firepower and smash through their center. What would happen to the colony ship during that kind of battle? She asked. Hyun-woo hesitated. He knew the answer, but saying it out loud made him uncomfortable. Acceptable casualties. The mission would succeed even if some civilians died. Bo-Ram shook her head. Not acceptable to us. Gina, what do you think? Gina studied the tactical display from her position at the weapons console. The raiders are spread out to prevent exactly this kind of rescue. If we attack directly, they'll use the colony ship as a shield. So what do we do? Asked the Dominion captain, whose ship was working alongside them. We give them something else to worry about, Gina said with a slight smile. The plan that emerged was complex and risky. Instead of one massive attack, they would coordinate dozens of smaller actions. Human ships would use their superior speed to draw raiders away from the colony ship. Dominion vessels would provide heavy firepower to destroy key targets. Both sides would work together to create confusion and panic among the pirates. "This is too complicated," complained Commander Taiwan from one of the Dominion ships. "Too many things can go wrong." "Simple plans are predictable plans," Boram replied. "The raiders expect us to do the obvious thing. Let's disappoint them." As the joint fleet moved into position, Hyun-woo watched the coordination between human and Dominion forces. It was not perfect. There were misunderstandings and communication problems. Some Dominion officers still resented taking suggestions from humans, but it was working. The attack began with a feint. A small group of human ships appeared to make a desperate rescue attempt on the colony ship's far side. The raiders, thinking they had found easy prey, moved to intercept. That was when the real attack started. Dominion heavy cruisers emerged from behind asteroids where they had been hiding. Their massive weapons tore into the raiders' unprotected flanks. At the same time, human fighters swarmed the pirate ships like angry insects, too small and fast to hit but deadly in groups. The raiders tried to regroup, but the joint fleet gave them no time. Every time they started to form a defensive line, human ships would appear from unexpected directions. Every time they tried to use superior numbers, Dominion firepower would break their formations. "Colony ship is clear," reported the communications officer. "All civilians are safe." But the battle was far from over. The raiders had realized they were facing something new. Two enemy fleets working together with perfect coordination. Some tried to flee. Others fought desperately, knowing capture meant execution. That was when Admiral Kang-soo arrived with reinforcements. Hyun-woo felt his heart sink as he saw the Admiral's flagship drop out of hyperspace. Kang-soo had come with a full battle group, enough ships to destroy the entire raider fleet and probably the human vessels too. "All human ships, this is Admiral Kang-soo," came the transmission. "Withdraw immediately. The Dominion will handle this situation." Boram looked at Hyun-woo. "Is he going to attack us?" "I don't know," Hyun-woo admitted. "But if he does, you need to run. You can't fight that many ships." "We won't abandon our allies," Boram said firmly. "What allies? You mean us?" Hyun-woo was confused. "I mean the Dominion ships fighting beside us. The crews who've been working with us for the past hour. You think we'd just leave them to face Kang-soo's anger alone?" The idea had honestly not occurred to Hyun-woo. In Dominion thinking, you used allies when convenient and abandoned them when necessary. But the humans saw partnership as a commitment that went both ways. Another transmission came from Kang-soo's ship. "Commander Hyun-woo, you will transfer to my vessel immediately for debriefing." Hyun-woo knew what that meant. Not debriefing, execution. He had openly defied Dominion doctrine by participating in this joint operation. "I have to go," he told. "Boram, no you don't," she replied. "If I don't, he'll attack your ships. Let me handle this." Boram opened a channel to the entire combined fleet. Her voice went out to every ship, human and Dominion alike. "All vessels, this is Captain Boram. We have successfully completed our mission. 3 million civilians are safe because we worked together. Human crews and Dominion crews fought side by side as equals. She paused, letting that sink in. Admiral Kang-Su, you have a choice to make. You can attack us and destroy everything we've accomplished here. You can prove that the Dominion values pride more than progress. Or you can join us in building something better. On the tactical display, Hyun-woo could see Kang-Su's ships taking attack positions. The Admiral was not known for backing down from any confrontation, but then something unexpected happened. One of the Dominion ships broke formation. It was Captain Jin-A's vessel. She moved to position herself between Kang-Su's forces and the human fleet. "Admiral," came Jin-A's voice over the communications channel, "I respectfully request permission to remain with the Joint Task Force." "Denied. Return to formation immediately." "Sir, with respect, the mission here is not complete. The raider threat extends throughout this sector. A joint patrol would... You will return to formation or be fired upon as a mutineer." Hyun-woo held his breath. This was the moment of truth. Would Jin-A back down? Would the other Dominion captains abandon the humans to save themselves? Another ship broke formation. Then another. "This is Captain Dal-Su, requesting permission to remain with Joint Task Force. Captain Minho requesting same. Captain Su-jin requesting same." One by one, the Dominion ships that had fought alongside the humans declared their intent to stay. They were choosing cooperation over blind obedience. Kang-Su's voice came over, the channel shaking with rage. "You are all mutineers, traitors to the Dominion." "No, sir," Jin-A replied calmly. "We are patriots. We are trying to make the Dominion stronger." On the display, Hyun-woo could see Kang-Su's remaining ships. The Admiral still had superior numbers. He could attack and probably win. But if he did, he would be destroying Dominion ships alongside human ones. He would be killing his own people for the crime of thinking differently. The silence stretched for long minutes. The entire sector seemed to hold its breath. Finally, Kang-Su spoke again. "All ships, return to base. This matter will be settled by higher authorities." His fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Joint Task Force alone among the stars. Hyun-woo slumped in his chair, exhausted by the tension. Around him, human and Dominion crews were celebrating their victory together. "What happens now?" he asked Boram. "Now we do what we always do," she replied. "We keep moving forward. We keep learning. We keep trying to make things better. And if Kang-Su comes back with more ships," Boram smiled, and it was the same warm expression Gina had shown him in the arena. "Then we'll deal with that too. Together." Outside the ship's windows, human and Dominion vessels flew in formation, their crews working as one. It was a small thing in a vast galaxy. But sometimes small things grow into something much bigger. Sometimes they grow into revolutions. 5 years had passed since the battle that changed everything. Hyun-woo stood in a place he had never imagined he would see. The Grand Assembly Hall on Earth, humanity's home world. Around him, representatives from over 300 different species gathered for the annual meeting of the Galactic Alliance. It was nothing like the old Dominion Council. There, A few powerful species had made decisions for everyone else. Here, every world had a voice. They argued and disagreed constantly, but they kept talking until they found solutions that worked for everyone. Hyunwoo wore the uniform of the Alliance Defense Force. The symbols on his chest showed his rank as Strategic Coordinator, a position that would have been impossible in the Old Dominion. His job was to help different species understand each other's military traditions and find ways to work together. "Nervous?" asked a familiar voice behind him. He turned to see Gina approaching. She wore the stars of a full general now, earned through 5 years of successful operations across the galaxy. But her smile was the same one that had first shown him mercy in the arena. "A little," Hyunwoo admitted. "Today we vote on the Kepler Accords. If they pass, we'll have a common defense, treaty that covers half the galaxy. If they fail..." "They won't fail," Gina said confidently. "You've done too good a job building consensus. The Vorthak delegation is still uncertain. They're worried about losing their independence. Then we'll keep talking to them until they're comfortable. That's how this works." Hyunwoo nodded, but he was still worried. The galaxy had changed dramatically since that day in the arena, but not everyone was happy about it. There were still holdout systems that preferred the old way of doing things, still species that believed strength meant domination. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked Gina. "The simplicity of the old ways, when problems were solved with superior firepower?" Gina considered the question seriously. "Sometimes," she admitted. "It was easier when you could just defeat your enemies and move on, but easier isn't always better." She gestured toward the assembly hall, where hundreds of different beings were preparing for the day's session. "Look at what we've built instead. Look at what we've accomplished together." Hyunwoo did look, and what he saw still amazed him. Former enemies worked side by side on projects that would have been impossible for any single species. Medical breakthroughs that saved millions of lives, technologies that made space travel safer and faster, colonies where different species lived together in peace. It was messy and complicated and sometimes frustrating, but it worked. "The Zephyrians want to thank you again," Gina continued. "The colony ship we saved is now a thriving world with 5 million inhabitants. They named their capital city after you." "That's embarrassing," Hyunwoo said, but he was pleased. "You earned it. Without your willingness to try something different, those people would be dead." As they walked toward the assembly hall, Hyunwoo reflected on how much had changed. The joint operation to save the Zephyrian colony ship had been just the beginning. Word of the successful cooperation had spread quickly through both human and Dominion space. Some Dominion commanders had been furious. Admiral Kang-Soo had tried to organize a counter-revolution to restore the old order. But too many people had seen the benefits of working together. When Kang-Soo finally attacked a human colony, his own officers refused to follow him. The civil war that followed had torn the Dominion apart, but from its ashes had grown something better. The alliance was not perfect, but it was founded on principles that would have been impossible in the old system. Cooperation instead of domination, protection of the weak instead of exploitation. peaceful resolution of conflicts whenever possible. General Gina, Commander Hyunwoo. They turned to see Captain Min Ho approaching. He was a captain now, commanding his own ship in the Alliance fleet. Behind him came several other former Dominion officers who had joined the new system. "Are you ready for the vote?" Min Ho asked, excitedly. "As ready as we can be," Hyunwoo replied. "How are your people feeling?" "Confident." "The younger generation, especially. They've grown up with Alliance values. To them, cooperation seems natural." That was true. Children who had grown up during the transition took interspecies cooperation for granted. They attended schools with aliens, played games with beings from different worlds, and thought of the galaxy as one big community, rather than competing empires. And the older generation? Min Ho's expression grew more serious. Some are still adapting, but every year there are fewer problems. Every year more people see the benefits. They entered the assembly hall together. The space was enormous, with seating for thousands of representatives. At the center was a raised platform where speakers could address the entire assembly. Hyunwoo took his assigned seat in the military advisory section. Around him sat officers from dozens of different species, all working together to keep the peace. It would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. The session began with the traditional words spoken in 100 different languages. We gather as equals. We speak as one. We build tomorrow together. The debates that followed were intense but respectful. The Vorthak representative explained his species' concerns about the defense treaty. The human ambassador responded with modifications that addressed those worries. Other species offered their own suggestions and compromises. It took 6 hours of discussion, but gradually a consensus emerged. The treaty would protect smaller worlds from aggression while respecting each species' right to govern itself. No one got everything they wanted, but everyone got enough to feel secure. When the final vote was called, the result was overwhelming. The Kepler Accords passed with support from over 90% of the represented worlds. As the assembly erupted in cheers, Hyunwoo felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Bo-Ram, now an admiral in the Alliance fleet. "Congratulations," she said. "This couldn't have happened without your work building bridges between our peoples." "It couldn't have happened without humans showing us there was a better way," Hyunwoo replied. "Not just humans," Bo-Ram corrected. "Everyone who chose to try something new. Everyone who decided that the future could be different from the past." After the session ended, there was a celebration in the great plaza outside the assembly hall. Representatives from 300 worlds mingled freely, sharing food and stories and hopes for the future. Hyunwoo found himself standing next to a memorial wall that honored those who had died during the transition to the new order. Admiral Kang-soo's name was there, along with many others who had fought against change. Even those who had opposed the alliance were remembered with respect. "Do you think he would understand now?" Gina asked, joining him at the memorial. "If Kang-soo could see what we've built?" "I don't know," Hyunwoo said honestly. "Some people can't change, no matter what evidence they're shown. But I'd like to think that even he might have come around eventually." "Everyone deserves a chance to learn," Gina said. echoing the words she had spoken to him 5 years ago. Even former enemies, especially former enemies. As the celebration continued around them, Hyun-woo thought about the path that had brought him here. It had started with a simple act of mercy in an arena, one human choosing not to kill her defeated opponent, one warrior deciding to learn instead of seeking revenge. Such a small thing. But small things could grow into something magnificent when given the chance. The galaxy was still not perfect. There were still conflicts and problems and species that refused to join the alliance. But there was also hope. There was progress. There was proof that different peoples could work together for the common good. "What's next?" Hyun-woo asked. Gina smiled and pointed to the stars visible through the plaza's transparent dome. "The same thing that's always been next," she said. "We keep moving forward, we keep learning, we keep trying to make things better." One hand extended at a time, one hand extended at a time. Above them, the stars shone down on a galaxy that was slowly but steadily choosing cooperation over conflict, understanding over fear, and hope over despair. It was a galaxy where the strong protected the weak, where everyone deserved a chance to learn, and where former enemies could become the closest of allies. It was a galaxy shaped by humanity's greatest gift, not their strength in battle, but their belief that tomorrow could always be better than today.